Right, so first job of the day is to make some rhubarb leaf insecticide. So I've just harvested the rhubarb and that's the leaves. I don't know if you can see how big these things are. They're absolutely massive. I think I'll only need one of them. But out of the 5 stalks I've picked, there's just under a kilo's worth of fruit, so that's a good haul. And look at the size of them. That's a good stick of rhubarb. So really pleased with those. I'm just waiting for the water to boil, and then we'll pick a leaf, chop it up and set it off going while we do some other jobs in the garden today. Right, so the water's boiling there now. I've chopped up the leaf a bit, and that's just one leaf. I think that's more than 700 grams. I got the inspiration for this off Terry King. If you haven't seen his channel or any of his videos, if you go to the featured channels on my page, you'll find him on there. Go check him out. Just get that in there. Turn the heat down just a smidge, let that boil for 20 minutes, half an hour, while we go do some other stuff. I'm just going to show you these leaves again, just to give you a point of reference for how big they is, and I've actually used the biggest one as a house brick. So there you go, massive leaves. Right, next job. Right, next job of the day is to get all of these onions that have gone weak at the knees out and drying, make a bit of space, and as they come out I'm going to put leeks in to fill all the gaps. So let's get them out. Right, there we go, that's the onions out. And they might not be the biggest, that's one of the bigger ones, so they might not be the biggest onions in the world, but it's an onion, it's the right shape, it hasn't gone to seed, and as far as my onion growing history goes, best ones ever, so happy with that. And there's still a few left that aren't done yet, so but the next job is garlic, and main reason I'm taking it out is because I took the leaves off it because it had rust on them, and the rust still there, so I'm getting it out before it affects anything else too badly. So I'll get them out now. Let's see what they're like. First one to come out. It's pretty small, but it'll still get used. It's still garlic, so let's see what the rest are like. Again, small. Let's see if it's a trend. There we go, that's them. It's out all of them. There was one decent one, which was that one there, and still not that big, so that's quite disappointing. Right, so yeah, like I say, that's quite disappointing, but it'll all get used. So that tray, it'll just go into the greenhouse now, leave to dry for a bit, and then I'll string them all up, hang them in a dark, cool place to store until they need to be used. Next thing is we're going to harvest some of the beetroot, so I'm just going to move the tripod a second. Because we've got some lovely sized beetroot in there now, so I'm going to harvest some of that. Let's see how good they really are. It's a nice one. Now the moles have been in this box and disturbed quite a few of the smaller ones. I'm not sure if they're going to come to anything. Right, I'm going to leave the rest of those in to get a bit bigger. But there you go, some nice beets there. The smaller ones, at that size, I'll pickle whole. And some of the bigger ones, like that size, I'll eat with the salad fresh. So there we go, that's that job done. Whenever you're cutting the leaves off your beetroot, it's always a good idea to leave a good inch or so. It stops them bleeding. Right, so always just make sure, like I say, a good inch or so, and they'll store like that until you're ready to use them. Right, there we go, that's all the beetroot cut up. And I'll probably use those either tonight or tomorrow, and all the leaves will just get chopped and go in the composter. Right, so the 20-minute alarm's just gone off. So I'll turn the heat off. I'll just show you what that looks like. You see? So anyway, we'll leave that to cool, and then we'll strain it into a bottle. Add some soap, and then that's basically it, but we'll leave that to cool for the minute and go do another job. Right, so I'm just going to put the leeks in, and I've just made the holes there with my dibber, and I've separated all the leeks up. Obviously I'm not going to get all them in, but I will get some in, and there's still a few onions to get out. So I've gone about 5-6 inches deep and about the same apart roughly. I haven't measured it or anything, but twist them in. Right, there we go, that's the leeks in. I'll just quickly go get a watering can and water in the holes. And for those of you watching that don't know, you don't want to actually fill the holes back up with soil. You just water into the hole and let the water wash the soil in over time. So I'll just go get the watering can and we'll get... Right, so I've just got a small watering can with a bit of hose pipe attached on the end just to make it a bit easier to get the water into the holes without it going everywhere else as well. Right, there we go, job done. And just to show you around a bit, the blueberries are doing really well. It's really starting to fatten up there now. But I do think the plant I've got in the box with the blueberries is affecting the production, so they'll be coming out later on in the year. Scan around. I've took the lettuce out from under the cage because it's bolting now. But it doesn't matter because I've got some more in the box over there, which I'll show you in a second. The cabbages are doing really well, and the spinach beet, there's still some of that to harvest. So that's that. The carrots in the box, actually moved a bit of the soil around them the other day, and they're a nice size already, so in late September, early October, when I'm wanting to harvest them, there should be, fingers crossed, there should be Bobby Dazzlers. Everything's looking nice up here. And I'm using the tripod a bit more today because I've had a few comments about my camera work being a bit dodgy, which I appreciate. It is a bit dodgy. Every time I put the video onto the computer to look at it after I've filmed, I always think, oh my god, but you know, by then it's too late, so hence the tripod. Last year's golden berry plant that was in the greenhouse last year, which I cut right down to the bottom, like right off at the bottom, has come back and now has flowers on it, and there's buds everywhere. Now I have some golden berries in the house because I just didn't have any room for them in the greenhouse, and I knew I wouldn't. I thought they might do quite well in the house, but they haven't. The one outside's done better, which I find really strange, but there you go. The grape, the little bunches are flowering. I'll try and zoom into one there. There, you see it? There's plenty of them about. So that's good. Not be long we'll have little grapes on there. The red currants still doing well. Still haven't took any off yet because I'm trying to get a bunch harvested all together. I'm not sure if I'll be able to get away with doing that though. And just have a look down the garden there. Everything's looking pretty good. I'm gonna pause the camera and move the tripod so you can have a look further down. The tadpoles, I don't think you'll be able to make it out, but they've got tiny little legs on the back now, which I'm really pleased about. I was getting a bit concerned that nothing was going to happen and they were just going to stay tadpoles, but no, noticed yesterday they finally got tiny little legs, so it'll not be much longer for them now. The pond's looking nice and healthy still. The courgettes that were planted the other day, they're looking good. The lettuce is coming up now, so I'll be thinning them out soon. The peony, because it's in a pot, it's got a flower bud on it, but it's not flowering. But that's going to be going in the front garden eventually. I'll have to do a video and show you the front garden at some point. It's quite big, but it's a building site like the bottom half of the back garden at the minute. So right, and down this end I've got a question for you. The parsnip leaves are so big, right, that they're impeding the growth of the carrots, I think. So do you think it would be alright if I cut some of the leaves back a bit, just so a bit more sun got onto the carrots? Obviously not take all the leaves off because that would just destroy them, but I really do think it's affecting, but I don't know if that's a good idea to do or not. So if anybody can advise, that would be appreciated. The potatoes are doing absolutely smashing. It's actually quite exciting because I had a feel in around a couple of the pots the other day, and the sawbores, you can actually feel the lumps sticking out the side of the pot. Now, hopefully that's a sign there's a lot of potatoes in there. Fingers crossed again. But I don't think it'll be much longer before these three at the front are being harvested. They've just about finished their flowering now, and I think once they finish flowering, the foliage will start and die off. So that's that. As you can see, the peas are still going strong, and I've lost count at how many times I've harvested off the munch too, and there's still some more to get. So they're fantastic croppers, and I'll definitely be growing them again because it's just ridiculous how many you get. I'm starting to get a whole drawer full in the freezer. Right, so there's just a couple more things to show you, so I'll pause the video again and move the tripod. So there's the rhubarb. Now it's being harvested. It was took from this plant over this side. And I say I'm really happy with the thickness of the stalks and the weight of them. I think that's really good. And I'm just going to try and show you in here me one and only little broad bean that's in there. This plant here, it's got a couple of beans in it. I don't think you'll be able to see in there though. Nah, you'll not. Right, just one last thing to show you. So I need to move the tripod again. Asparagus. I hope you can see that, but there's new stalks on it. See that one there? That's the second stalk off one of the plants, and there's another one just there off the middle one, and on the end one there's a one just under that bit of leaf there. So it's actually coming along much better than I expected it to. I know it takes a long time to get asparagus going, but so far so good, I think. Right, so we've harvested the first cucumber off the Telegraph Improved, and if you can see that, if it was straight it'd be about 16 inches. It's a bit hard to tell from this angle, but it is there. So I'll be trying that later on. I've had to move the peppers, which were on this shelf here, because they were just getting too tall and being far too restricted. So one of them now is up on the top shelf in the corner with the other ones. I don't know how well you can see those ones. And down here on the tripod, got lots of flowers on them now. The other ones are now on this table with the sweet potato, which is also doing fantastic. If you can see that in the background there, climbing up its strings and going along the roof really well. The tomatoes, I'm really pleased with the tomatoes now. Every time I look at the trusses, there's just more and more flowers appearing, so everything seems to be working well. The marigolds are out in the back, and the sunflowers now are nearly at the top of the greenhouse. I'll just move up so you can have a look at those. There's the top of one there, and the other one's even higher. So they're doing well as well. They're not liking the heat so much, but so that's that. The tomato plant I've got off Alan seems to have settled in really well. Haven't had any problems, nothing obvious in any way, so pleased with that. considering it was a bit of a mission impossible to get it done. The cucumbers, as you can see, still producing. Plenty on them, hold on. There we go, loads of cucumbers on this plant. Just have a look at that. 1, 2, 3, little one at the bottom there, another one there, and then there's loads. As you look up the plants, there's just loads more little ones coming on, and them two are growing along the roof nicely now. And that's it. So there's just one last thing to do, which is sieve the rhubarb leaf, I want to say tea, into a bottle. So I'll go get everything I need to do that, and we'll come back and finish that off. Right, so I've got my bottle, I've got my funnel, and I've got my sieve, and I'm going to attempt to just pour into there, and hopefully it won't go everywhere. Fingers crossed. Now Terry, I know on your video you said use some pure soap. I've checked and I just don't have any. I can't actually remember the last time I ever bought soap. So all I'm going to use is a bit of this soap, which is probably the closest thing I've got. So just a few dribbles of that. Give it a shake. And there we go, rhubarb leaf insecticide. I've got a bit more left, so I'll find myself another bottle and do another bottle's worth. But there you go. That's it for this one, folks, and I'll catch you next time.